Hey guys, Tom Frampton here from Mastering the Mix, and we're in for another mastering walkthrough video today. I'm going to show you my process and hopefully you can learn something new. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to drop the mix into Expose and have a look at the EQ. Let's see. So this is showing me that we need to boost the low end a little bit in the very sub-frequencies. There's a little notch there at 200 Hertz as well, but more or less it's quite flat. This is for club, so we need to add 14 decibels to this mix to get it sounding loud enough to be heard in a club. Let's take a listen. So here we can see the loss there is quite low still. Low end is fairly wide there actually. I might look at making that a bit more mono. I'm going to start by adding some loudness to this mix. Kind of work backwards from there. So I'm using Animate here to introduce some loudness. So this is really nice harmonic distortion. Let's see how it comes into the drop. Keeping an eye on those luffs. Okay, getting up to -6. That's more or less what we're looking for. -6 short term, that is. It's just injecting a bit more energy in there. Here, I'm dialing in the compression here, so it's just, again, tickling that signal. I'm bringing down the threshold so it compresses a bit more. Very subtle. Tweak these parameters just to get them sounding good. This is nice and thin now. So I have a lot of my plugins set up already with my kind of nice default settings, so I have to do minimal tweaking, which allows me to get through these masters very quickly. Just adding a touch of width there. Let's compare it to this reference track. So this level line that I'm seeing in reference, I'm going to want to try and match that with the EQs. So we've got a dip there at 200. We want to increase the sub frequencies. This is what Expose was showing us before. Expose was showing us the difference. So it would be the inverted EQ line. I'm just going to keep an eye on this, make some rough changes with Pro Q3 here. See how that level line in reference is now kind of just flattening out. It's a little bit closer now to 0 decibels. Keeping it within ±3 to 4 decibels the majority of the time. That's what I'm looking to do here. Okay, now I'm going to try and find some of these resonances and just notch them out of the mix. So keeping the EQ node at 0 decibels and then dynamically ducking it when it comes in too harsh. There's not too many here. When you have the Q at 40, it's very subtle control. It might seem subtle, but this is one of those processes that kind of, when you add this with other changes during mastering, it adds up to a really great final sound. It's subtle. You always got to do the before and after checking. So now I'm comparing it to the original mix. See, minor changes so far, but it's just that added clarity. Okay, let's see what bass drum is saying. I'm seeing these targets here. This one is pushed, it's suggesting that I push it quite hard, but I'm going to pull back a little bit there and just go with what sounds best to me. I think if I push that low end too much, it would just start to distort, so. Add these smart bands now in mixed room, so again, subtle changes here. I'm not sure I like how that high end is sounding, so I'm just going to pull it back on the gain scale so it's more subtle. But that seems to be working nicely. It's kind of got that more analog edge. Again, just soothe, just taking the edge off the sound here. Not much more is needed there. We've really quickly added some extra clarity to the sound here. So I can see the level line is showing me I've reduced the low end, I've pushed up the high end a little bit. It's definitely more in line now with the reference track. See this, that line now is quite close to 0 decibels. That's what we were shooting for, and it's definitely close enough. There are differences in terms of instrumentation and key and those other things, but it's definitely close enough. This peak is coming from the reference track. Levels should really be before reference. And that low end now is nice and centered. Things are sounding good in mono. Not too much low end in the side. We've done the checklist. We've matched the reference track, so it's sounding great. It definitely sounds better than the original mix. Job done. Okay, I've dropped the master into expose here, and if we look at club setting, there are no issues. Everything's blue, which is great. We're hitting minus 6.6 short-term LUFS. We might push it a touch louder if the artist wants to go for that, but let's see. We've got no peaking issues. The stereo, left, right, balance, and phase correlation is all good. We've got a good dynamic range, a good dynamic difference between the verse and the chorus here. And we're pretty close to the target line here. See, we're about 2 decibels too loud in the, too quiet in the low end. And the high end as well could probably come up a touch. So I'm going to have a conversation with the artist and let's see what they think. Again, anything within 3 decibels here is actually very, very close. And instrumentation plays a huge part in this. So we're not far off at all. So let's see what they say. And thanks again for watching this mastering walkthrough video. I'll be back again for more very soon.